In today's video we are going to focus more on the Worldbuilder. I uploaded a video a couple of days ago where I asked you to give me your questions so that Plexus and I can answer your questions as good as we can. By the way, Plexus is Mr. Let's Play player. If you see his name here in the comment section, this is Plexus. And we try to answer your questions as best as we can. And we are currently working on a few videos to explain your questions and to answer them. For example, this one here is pretty difficult with the rocket pods. We already spent a couple hours to show how this is done. I can give you a little hint, Banker Gamer. It is done with sequential scripts in the unit behavior tab and the unit generic script tab. This is done through them. So if you want to have rocket pods and laser beam, you need sequential scripts. But for this I will make a separate video. We are still trying to have a good video for you up. For each question we spend a lot of hours to create a good video for you to explain, to answer your question as best as we can. And we are currently working us through a few of your questions here right now. But today, one question really caught my interest here, and this is posted by Marakar. And he wants to give me the question which says, are you possibly able to do a tutorial on how to use map-ini as well in a complex way, such as designing custom units? This is called modding. I'm not good in modding. Plexus is also not good in modding, but I can give you a little hint. Maybe this explains what you want to know. There is a folder, the ini folder, which contains all map-ini files of the official Command & Conquer 0 Hour and Generals game. This one is located in your game file. If we go to games and go to 0 Hour, there you have these big files, and one of these big files is called ini 0 Hour big, and in this big file you need, I think, big viewer or something like this. Just type in big viewer or something in Google and then you will find it. In these big files, these ini files are located in, and then you can edit these ini files. But this is another video for you. I will ask Plexus to do a video on that. You can do all kinds of stuff in these ini files, for example, editing the health, editing the armor of the units, and all these crazy kind of things. As for a Worldbuilder question, how would you go about replicating real-life continents into the Worldbuilder or real-life locations in general? Not sure how to do proper scaling and such. This is a really good question, and it really caught my interest here because I really tried that a few years ago by building my own custom China campaign, and I wanted to start my first mission in Berlin in Germany, and I tried to build Berlin as good as I can based on real pictures. For that I can give you a good tip. If you go to Google Maps, and in Google Maps, for example, I went to Am Weidendamm in Berlin, and I went there, and if you go to Google Maps, then you have here this location called Weidendamm. This is this little street here, and I wanted to build this part of the city for my first mission in the China campaign. My first intro sequence should start on this location on Berlin. Here on the maps you have the option to have Google Earth, With Google Earth you can zoom in a lot. So we go here, we can see the street really good. So this is a pretty good thing here. So if we want to replicate the texture here of the street, we can take a close look at the street, and then we can reproduce it in the Worldbuilder, replicate it in the Worldbuilder. And I did this here. We can see here the street, which I hope is well taken from this live picture, not live picture, but from the street view picture. This is a cobblestone texture. If you want to begin, let's start with the beginning. First, I would advise to concentrate on smaller things which are easy to build, like for example a river. And with the river you get a good scaling. For example, if we take a look at Berlin, we have here the river, and the river, if we zoom out a bit, is going here through Berlin. There are a couple of bridges here going over that river, and we can see that here at this location the river is splitting into two parts, and then the river goes into the two parts and continues there, going all the way through Berlin. And I tried to replicate this in my map. Here we can see that river goes here through Berlin and then makes a little turn there. There are a few bridges. This is Blaxus, by the way. He is now messaging me, and it says he had slept at 10 p.m. That's a good time to sleep, buddy. And here we have the splitting. So if we take a look here, we can see the splitting right there, right at this position there. There we have the splitting, and we have a museum there. Obviously you cannot build this museum in Command & Conquer 0 Hour. That is basically not possible. This is like a really beautiful museum, but you cannot replicate this in Worldbuilder. So here in this part I tried to do it as best as I can, and once I had done the river part I had a good scaling. And with this scaling I now went to a specific location, for example this one here right there, and I took that bridge. So I went here, here we have that bridge, the Ebertbrücke, the Ebert Bridge, and I took that little man here and threw him into the map. And if we are here on the map, we can see there is the bridge. And for the bridge, you can go there and take a good close look on the bridge and think about which bridge you should take. And here for this example I decided to take this bridge, as I thought this is going to show this bridge as best as possible, also in a good way, so that tanks can move over that bridge without getting shot too easily by enemy units. So once I had placed down the bridge, I went to the street. I covered it with this cobblestone texture. Here we can see it in a very good view. Here's the cobblestone. And when replicating real life locations, you really need a lot of time, like a lot of time. And you really need to watch for all the close details. For example, we have here the fence. This fence I tried to replicate with these fences right there, if they are even called fences. This is not called a barricade, so not sure what this is called in English, but I will now call it just a fence. Not sure if this is the right word. and I place down these fences here along the street. This is also here shown in Google Earth. We can see it here. And if we want to have a closer look on the fence, we can move with the arrows through the street and can see where the fences are and where are gaps located on the street. Okay, while knowing this little detail, for example, here we have these fences and here we have a wide gap. I tried to build this in as well, I think. So here we have the fence and here's a little gap. Normally these fences should not be there, as there should be a gap. Not sure why I did build in that fence right there. So this is how you proceed while replicating the map. Also, we have here a little white line for the cars to drive to the right to the bridge, or maybe drive forward here down the road. I tried to replicate this as well. Here we have the white line, very easily done through the road options. Here we have it, single white line. Now I messed it up, angled, that we need. Okay, so once the white line was down, we had a bit more details here, which are shown right there. We also have here a few signs, and we have some guy with a mobile phone. Nice mobile phone, by the way. And we also have a manhole here. So these little manholes give you a replication of the real life location, a good design, and we want that. So here we have the manhole. I placed it down here. Let's turn off not that object icons. Now we can see it better. So there's a little manhole, gives your city a bit more detail here. And yeah, this is how you scale the map, the real life location. You go through every detail and you think about how to put that into your map. Also, street lights give your map a lot of details. And yeah, you just go into the street view and you take all these parts. Here, for example, the street ends here with the cobblestone and proceeds to go to this asphalt. Not sure how it is called in English. I did that right there. I had the cobblestone here, and now there it goes to the asphalt. It is called asphalt. Okay, that is good to know. And once you have done that, you just proceed with the roads. I advise to do the roads next because the roads are easily laid down, and once you have done the roads, you can proceed with your railroads. Every good town has a railroad, and we have that right here. Here we have the railroad, there we have it. The railroad you can see best with the map view. There we have the little train lines. I think with this you actually see the railroads and can rebuild them in your map, but you can also go to Google Earth. If you see that these are railroads, you are pretty good prepared to replicate them. Okay. The next step is just your imagination and how well you can replicate these things in your map. Obviously, you cannot replicate everything which is there. Some buildings are just not there in Command & Conquer 0 Hour. A few are. For example, Germany has a few buildings. These are located in here. They are not exactly like Germany buildings, but they do match pretty good. And you can place them down here at the sidewalks. And I think this is a good way to replicate your real-life locations. You can obviously not 100% replicate them, but this is a good way to do it. And just go through the Google Earth and try to replicate this as good as you can. But like I said, you really need a lot of time, Okay, I hope this helped you a lot, and good luck, have fun with replicating the map.